Previously on Social Takeout, Exes Part 1.
And so, like, I was jet lagged. I couldn't really sleep. He's sleeping. I get up. I go to the computer, and I'm like,
That inner voice.
I know that inner voice is check his email. Check his Skype.
Can I take your order?
Yeah. You have to try this.
Okay, just a bite.
Check his email. Check his Skype.
Yeah.
And so I just find all of these really inappropriate emails between he and his TA and
So
talking
you're-
about being together
Yeah.
and like just all of this bullshit. So like my instincts were completely correct.
Yeah.
And then like he was gaslighting me of like, no, I would never do that, and why would you think that? And blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
And so like I think it was like 4 a.m.
Do you think there was like physical contact or was it just
Oh,
chat?
absolutely.
Yeah.
She was talking about like how he tastes and
Oh,
like
God,
I know.
ew.
It was disgusting.
Loves his eyes.
Yeah. So
You got beautiful eyes. I don't know where
yeah,
you're looking.
he's got one beautiful eye. Anyway, so
Yeah.
it was like 4 a.m. and I just like went and was like slamming doors and
Yeah.
like wake your ass up. I'm like, what the fuck?
Throw him off the bed.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then he was like, are you bipolar? And I was like, I'm not bipolar. Like, you fucking asshole. Like, okay, first of all, there's nothing wrong with being bipolar, but it is totally reasonable for me to be upset in this situation.
But that would just aggravate you more because you're so
Absolutely.
angry at what you find. Are you
Absolutely.
bipolar?
And then, like,
It's
I had told him things about, like, my childhood and, like, how hurtful things were and, like, just other trauma I'd been through that I hadn't shared with anyone else. And then he, like, took that and, like, was totally fine hurting me in this way,
Yeah.
Like, that was really just, like,
Yeah.
how could you do that?
Yeah, that's
know?
terrible. Like,
Yeah.
I also feel like, okay, this interesting point that you actually brought up. Me too. Like, I've started not talking about my exes to my current. Later on, maybe, but right in the beginning, I don't because
Yeah.
I feel like people like this asshole.
Yeah.
I feel like they look for vulnerable
Absolutely.
souls in
And
many
then they
ways.
use it against
They
you.
use it against you. They're like, oh, she
Yeah.
can actually be used that way.
And I didn't realize that that was something people did.
Yeah, I did not realize it until like my 4th relationship or
Yeah.
so. But I think it is an actual thing. I don't think it even goes through our head that we can actually hurt another human being. But if you just look at just the world in general, the most successful people have actually stepped on somebody
Yeah,
else to get where they
absolutely.
are. So if he wants to keep you on the side and have this TA on the side, and that's
Yeah.
actually totally working, and saying like, oh, maybe you stay in America
Absolutely.
and I'll be in Paris.
And so then, like, his thing was like, no, she knows that I'll never leave you, and like,
Ooh, the TA?
yeah. And I was like, bitch,
Burn her.
what?
Like, oh my god. Like,
I
did you
was
ever
like,
mean her?
No, I didn't.
And she knows about you.
She
and
knows
him.
about me, and I tried to
Ah.
friend her on Facebook. She would not accept my friend request.
Well, okay.
But so I was just like so hurt.
No,
that he-
just pause there one second.
I know.
I have to think about the TA. And if I was a TA and I know
Uh-huh.
this was happening, and we should see Surai Cole wants to be a friend with you.
absolutely.
Block.
And then and so this was the first day I got there, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
his best friends were coming, one from London and then the other one from the outskirts of Paris to like come stay in his new flat for the weekend and meet me and like, you know, really like, and I was like, tell them not to come.
Yeah,
And
of course.
yeah, absolutely. I was like, they can't come. And I just like, it made me crazy. Like, it was like,
Why? I mean,
it was like grief, you know,
I
like,
mean, okay, there's multiple points in this. I think it's also because you sort of knew
Yeah.
what was happening, and it's almost like you're angry at yourself. I think you're
Absolutely.
like, why didn't I?
Absolutely.
And you're in Paris, you're jet lagged, you're fine.
Yes.
This is right in front
yes.
of you.
And
Information.
then, but like, really, like,
Yeah.
I was so vulnerable with him, and I made a point to be because I was so I shielded myself like before this with everyone else. Like it didn't matter, friends, like my ex-husband, whatever, I just made sure that like no one knew like enough about me to hurt me. And so this was like the first time that I really opened up and like tried to like show my full self to someone.
Yeah.
And then he just like used it against me.
Yeah.
And then asked me if I was bipolar. And I was just like, I literally went fucking crazy. Like,
yeah,
I was
mean,
like,
I'm surprised you didn't like do more.
and so fine, like,
have.
and he wouldn't let me leave. Like, I was like, I need to get out of here, and he was like, no.
With all these stuff.
Yeah,
you
like,
just need to get out to
yeah,
breathe,
exactly. I was
basically,
like, no. If I walk out that door, you will never see me again. I am going to Paris, and I'm just like fucking everyone I see. And so then that was the other thing. It was like, my ex-husband didn't like sex, and then like
Didn't like sex?
Didn't like sex at all. He thought that once we got married, we didn't have to have sex anymore.
Wait.
Yeah. So just breezing right
Where
along.
do you find these people?
I don't know. So
this
then,
guy. Okay, back to the ex-husband person. He just sounds
I was trying
terrible.
to just like gloss right over that.
Oh my god! Like everything is done, and he also doesn't want to have sex.
Yeah. So like my best friend was like, "Do you think there's anything you can work on with your husband, like my then husband, to like salvage the relationship?" And I was like, it would be different if there was like one area of our relationship that was really good and we could like grow and build on that, but like nothing. There was nothing. There was no sex. There was no like support of each other. Like we weren't like really great friends. Like absolutely. And so like after having this long distance relationship with the French guy for so long, I was just like, I need sex. Like yes, I kind of had this friends with benefits, but like not really. Like we would just like go to the movies and not really make out, like just just being friends basically.
I thought, well,
I know,
that's just friends.
Well, we were friends with benefits, and then like I started seeing the French guy, and I was like, no, let's not do that.
Sorry, I'm in love with
I
French.
know exactly, but then I was like, oh, but you're really hot. We should still take Instagram pictures.
Oh, is this?
No.
Okay.
There are so many. I promise I'm not a really big celeb. Anyway, yeah, that was the ex-fiance. I'm using quotes again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big.
And like when I say every single relationship I've had has been like this.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. So, well, I mean, I guess relationships don't end unless if something bad has actually happened or it's clearly some sort of bad situation.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. In my case, the next relationship after big Italian dude was this American guy that I dated. He was in New York, super nice. He proposed to me at one point and I said no, but this is not like a big fancy story because I just always knew, because I was also so hurt from my last relationships. So I just didn't trust him at all. I'm like, man, I hate you, even though I don't like myself. But I'm like, but I'm more female right now.
I know.
But I just hate these people right now. And it was like almost like immediately after it.
Have you found that like going into a new relationship, you have to consciously make the effort not to hold them accountable for all of the other past things that
it's hard too because it's like there's two sides to it because you can't blame them for what the other person did, but at the same time what the other person did should be a lesson to you.
Absolutely.
So the moment you see those little signs like, oh god, this feels like that, you have to some way, shape or form think of that. With this guy, there were so many signs because in the beginning it was perfect. The first sign was basically we met online. And he was in Buffalo, New York. Sorry, not New York, New York. And I was like, why in my like DMs? It says Toronto. And then when he sent me his number, it was like 716. I think that's a Toronto number. I was like, this does not sound like 416. Yeah, which is like the Toronto number. He was like, oh, because I'm in Buffalo, New York. I'm like, but it says Toronto on your thing. He's like, yeah, because I'm currently dating someone and I don't want him to see.
Okay.
I don't want him to see if he goes on his friends or anything. So he's dating in Toronto. I was like, okay, I can't talk to you, blah, blah, blah. I'm against this because I just came out of this whole cheating thing, blah, 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 blah. But he was so hot. He was so hot. I mean, I was like, but we can be friends. Like, here's my number. So we can just chat.
Absolutely.
Sort of idea. So kind of thinking like when you guys break up, call me.
Yeah.
Sort of idea. But of course, that did not work out. He texted me the next day. I was in school. He's like, hey, I'm thinking of making a trip down to Toronto. Do you want to hang out for a drink? So I was like, yes.
Absolutely.
And it was Valentine's Day. I did not have a date.
It's like he sends it at 6:01.
I know,
And
he
then
just
like
knows it.
6:01, 30 seconds. You're like, yes.
Exactly. So then what happened is, then we met for dinner. And the entire time I'm asking questions about his boyfriend, I started to notice I'm feeling a little jealous because this guy seems really nice and nice in air quotes. But he's also really interested in me. He's treating me really well. But this whole thing was an issue. He said like, hey, if we work out, I'll break up with him. I was like, why don't you break up with him now?
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, because I don't want to be alone.
He's hedging his bets.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be alone. So he doesn't want to be single. So if I don't work out, he'll just go to the next person until he finds someone. Which, now that I think of it, I'm like, that's the worst thing you can do to someone.
Yeah.
And I was actually part of it.
Because they're always going to be on the lookout for something better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what happened is I said, okay, I'll try it out, but I'm not even going to kiss you until you go break up with him.
Yeah.
So he left that night, we hugged, and then he said, all done, broke up, and he showed me like a screenshot of the text messages they had. The guy was pissed.
He texted him to break up.
Yes.
Oh,
On top of that.
Jeez.
So I'm like, this is already starting out really well. But I'm going to change him. I'm going to make him a better person.
Yeah,
He won't do that to me. But then he came back and then we immediately had sex.
Obviously.
Yeah, we were like,
as one does.
I mean, immediately, because we've been chatting forever, and I'm like, he's so hot, and he finds me. I'm so his type too.
Okay, pause a second. Have you ever had sex on the first date?
On the first date, yeah, but my current boyfriend.
Me too.
I know, exactly.
Okay, interesting. And are you always like, oh, I never do this?
Normally I don't.
Okay.
My last.
That's totally a line.
No, like I have, like. Like, well, that's what we met for.
Who was that?
Big Italian dude. Oh, fuck. I said his name. That is going to get bleeped. But the big Italian dude, I did. But I think also we were meeting. I think it's more of a gay thing. It's just a pure hookup. I think even with Peter.
Yeah.
My current
Yeah,
boyfriend.
Marcus was just supposed to be a friends with benefits.
Yeah, I think so. We were just
well,
not.
that worked out.
Yeah, because we met on Grindr, and the whole expectation was supposed to be just meeting for.
Hookup.
Yeah, like we had dinner and stuff like that. I think Peter has a completely different story from me.
Interesting.
Because I remember there was a conversation I had with him. I was like, yeah, like, but you were seeing other people during this time, no? Because he came to my botanical gardens when he came to our show. He's like, no, I was just seeing you. I'm like, oh, me too.
Absolutely.
Because there was like a blurred line, the months of it, where we were dating. You remember this?
Dating, but not dating.
But not dating.
But you
I just
like,
didn't know.
I'm gonna break up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not even break up. I was like, this is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's never asked me out, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, back to this guy, the American dude. So we ended up dating. The best sex ever in a relationship sort of idea. He was really good at what he did. Probably that's the reason why every ex of his was texting him every single day.
Annoying.
I miss you. I do this. I like, and he was ignoring it. He was actually doing the right things. He was blocking them. I had all his passwords.
Yeah.
Literally
That's
the
great.
first week, he gave me all. I'm like, this guy's perfect. Blah blah blah. But it was always in the back of my head. He did this to somebody else. At some point, it's going to happen. Like a year went by, and then I found that he was online again. That conversation started. He immediately deleted it.
Yeah.
But that point, the trust started going down.
It's
but
like,
then,
how do you trust someone after that?
But then I decided like we should not date because I don't think I can ever trust you. The way we met and then what happened in between our relationship.
Yeah.
That's when he proposed to me.
Oh God.
It was like the worst proposal ever.
You want to break up? Well,
Like I didn't even see the ring.
I want to get married.
He actually got a ring. I didn't even see it.
Basically.
But then we broke up. In like 2 weeks, he was dating somebody else.
Absolutely.
And in a month, he was engaged to that person. I'm like, is that my ring?
Basically.
Probably it was.
He was just probably in a place where he was ready to get married.
It's
you know.
so. Plus, I don't think he's one of those people who can't stay single.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, you're already dating, and in a month, you're
crazy.
engaged.
Yeah.
And I saw that ring. It was so
Let
ugly.
me tell you about my parents. They met, dated for 2 weeks, got engaged, and then were married 2 weeks later.
What year was this though?
85.
Yeah.
Because I was born in 86 and they were divorced by 87.
Oops, right. That association there, the connection of it all. The 80s were great. All right. Instead of like ex-fiancés and husbands and boyfriends, would you consider like a sugar daddy an ex? It's a relationship in a way.
It is a relationship.
Did you have any?
I did.
I feel like a lot of musicians have had something.
Yeah,
in a way.
definitely. Like every opera singer I know at some point has had one.
Do tell about yours.
Okay, well,
how many were there?
Just one for me.
Okay.
He was the relationship immediately after I moved out of my ex's apartment, my ex-husband's apartment.
Yeah.
And
wait, this is not the Friends with Benefits. This is somebody else. I'm just making it sound so good.
I know. He was the first one I dated after separating with my ex-husband. Okay. And so he was like in the month, 2 months before I met the French guy and the Friends with Benefits while I was dating him.
Yeah.
With his like guidance. I know.
But those are such nice people though.
They really are.
Yeah.
But he was so damaged and
Was he?
like
From relationships?
Yeah, and life in general. So I say ex sugar daddy because that was like the way he presented himself, but then like so maybe for like a month I just kind of hung out at his house in Connecticut. And like, oh, by the way, I'm selling my house because I'm getting a divorce and I have 4 kids and like my ex-wife has all of my money.
Wait, you didn't know about this?
No, I just like showed up at his place to like hang out, and so like it was just really weird.
You're like, okay, time to pack.
I was like, okay, interesting. Well,
and they're gonna be here in an hour.
Yeah, I was like, I guess I'll hang out with you and smoke weed for a little bit. Yeah, so he was the one who got me into smoking weed.
Oh yeah.
I had never really done it before. I'd never done it before at all.
But you're from California.
I know,
yeah.
but
it wasn't legal at that
like,
point.
it wasn't legal, and you know, I was just like a stick in the mud and didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah, you sang for church.
I know. Shut up. So he got me into that, and that was fun. And he was just fun. Like, we would go do stuff, and he would always pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Was he older?
A lot older.
Think. A lot older.
Yeah.
How old was he?
I think I was like 29 when we met.
And he was?
And he was like 56.
Oh.
Maybe.
Did he call him daddy?
Yeah. Look.
All the time? Or
no, not all the time. And he was definitely into like...
Daddy, me want some weed.
Ew. No, not like that. He was definitely like into BDSM and like all sorts of other kinks, and so that was fun. Like,
so that means you're into it too.
Well, I was open to trying it. Like, I just like having sex.
Yeah, and this is after no sex
for like 10 years. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
You're
so
like,
I was like, whatever. Like, I'm in. You know.
Is that a shovel? Yeah, bring it.
Fine, bring it over. So like I was just like down for whatever, and like so we found out what I like and what I don't like, and he was just kind of a good time. But then like he liked really young girls, and that was just like ew. And so then I get super territorial and jealous.
Oh, because he had many sugar babies?
He was trying, and I was just like absolutely trying to monopolize all of his time so he couldn't do anything else.
Mine.
Exactly. I was like, this is mine. That didn't work out very well. And I think so then like we went to his hunting lodge in like New Hampshire or something.
Oh my God, that's rich.
Yeah. And so then he was like, okay, I'm gonna go out on a date, and I was just like,
what?
Wait. And he was like, I'll be back in like 3 hours.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh no, this is just terrible. And so he got back, and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
No. Sorry.
Yeah. But was that also because you were falling in love with him, or?
No, I was not in a place to like be falling in love with anyone. It was just like I was so desperate and still feeling that like,
From the ex.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm just gonna die alone, you know?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's how
so,
we all
like,
feel afterwards.
Yeah,
Right after, because it's kind of like
absolutely.
a very terrible place to be. But honestly, sugar daddies help.
Yeah, totally did.
This guy's buying all my stuff. He's
Absolutely.
having sex. Sort of idea right
Yeah.
after something like that. It helps you to. What's that saying? The best way to get over a guy is get under him. Get under another one.
Yes, it's accurate.
It does work.
Yeah. So that one I guess was the least traumatic of like my relationships.
But that one seems like a nice one.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff I'm leaving out. It was like definitely like
Yeah.
he was an alcoholic and he used pills recreationally and
Oh.
yeah.
But what kind of pills?
Like he had these morphine pills
Yeah. that
I had one.
Yeah.
And I was already like, give me another one. He was like, I will never
Give me the entire bottle.
I know. I was like, give me another one. So like he was just like mixing and matching things,
Yeah.
and just like very much like someone who had been raised wealthy, like
Yeah.
you know.
He just loves. I think he just really loves pleasure in general.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he just had some really unfortunate
Yeah.
things going on.
Oh.
Yeah.
He seems like a nice guy though. Like he wasn't because he was giving you guidance into dating and all this kind of stuff.
He was, but then like so while we were seeing each other, or it was like either Mike Brown was shot, or it was like the anniversary of him being shot in the U.S. I can't remember the name of the city, but so he was a black man who was shot by the police because they thought he had shoplifted something, and then they left his body out in the street in the middle of the summer for like hours and hours for like just the community to see. And I was just like really upset about this, obviously. And he was like, "Oh, please, he was a thug." And after that, I was like, "Oh shit, is he racist?" Like, I was like, I think he's racist. Whoops.
He's sort of like starting to show his true colors in many ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the beginning of the end.
So would you say like the relationship also really went well because you didn't have to completely invest?
Absolutely.
Because when you completely invest, you start really seeing the true colors of the person, right?
But even like not being invested, like I was still really jealous and like territorial and like, you know, possessive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had sugar daddies, but not to that extent. Like when I was living in London for some time, I was 18 or 19. 19 around then, just before I moved to Canada, so broke.
Yeah.
So broke.
I understand.
Because all the money went into rent. It's so expensive and I'm so bougie, I don't want to have a roommate. But then I ended up having a roommate.
Yeah.
But it was still expensive. But I wanted to go out and party, sort of idea. So I actually used to go to this place called The Village. I think it's called The Village. It's like a gay bar in Soho. And there were like people dancing on poles, but on the bar, but like go-go dancers. I just like, this is so fascinating. Boys dancing. But there was this
You're like, how do I get up there?
No, I'm not gonna get paid. But you can towards the end of the night.
Yeah.
But there was this one man, super nice. I'm not gonna mention his name. Much older. He was probably, and I was 19. This also sounds really weird. He was like 60 something years old, and I was 19. So it's like a grandfather relationship in a way. But he obviously wanted more. But I would like hug him, kiss, not on the lips, on the cheek, just sort of being very flirty.
Yeah.
And bring my friends there, and he would buy us all drinks.
Yeah.
He would buy us a cab to go home because we get so wasted.
Absolutely.
Like every teenager does, I guess. And we're like, we're gonna take the bus home right now. Like, no, let me get a cab for you, so we'll go home because I lived in the other end of the city, in the East End, Hackney, which is like dangerous at that point. Right now, it is kind of like a posh area. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that was sort of like my sugar daddy relationship. Was more for stuff.
Yeah.
Then I never lived with him.
Which,
I never went to his house.
That's the appropriate way to do it. I did it wrong.
So I had no connection with them. Literally, I was like telling my friends, like, you guys should do it too.
Get his number.
And I get his number. He'll send you stuff. He'll pay your rent. But it was more like I want to get everyone involved in it. Sounds so bad. But this poor man.
It's what you needed at the time.
At that time, I needed it.
Yeah.
And we gave him what he needed at that. He needed some young energy around him.
Yeah.
He was always alone sitting in the bar.
And like honestly, if you were that drunk around him, he could have taken advantage if he wanted to. So it sounds like he was just like
No, I was really not attracted to him at all. Like
no,
literally.
I know, but I'm saying like he could have taken advantage.
He was like he would touch me and I would be like ew, just slowly move away. So I don't know, and then I'm like, I was almost said his name. My God, he'd be like, hey, kiss him on the cheek. Do you want to get us some drinks? It's so bitchy now we think of it.
Yeah.
He's used all his money.
It's you know,
So
it's
bad.
what you needed.
Yeah, it was a time. I'm a different person now, sort of. But yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like we should end this conversation here. We could go on for hours
Exactly.
and hours.
And maybe on Patreon we can actually just talk about.
Oh yeah. So let me tell you, I sort of I alluded to my friends with benefits that I had. And let me tell you that thing went so wrong. Like, it was okay for a while, and then I found out that, like, had kids.
Oh my
like,
God.
didn't live where he said, like, all sorts of bullshit.
Friends
like,
with benefits.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So you became like the other woman in a way.
I will tell you all about it on our Patreon.
Cool. So until then, thanks for joining us today. You can find us on Facebook at Social Takeout and join a discussion. Also on Instagram at Social Takeout.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.